Admitting mistakes is a powerful tool. My RESP journey has not been without mistakes, and in today's video I'm going to open up about those mistakes and share them with you so that you can avoid some of the mistakes that I've made with my kids' RESP. My name's Darren, this is the Crazy Canuck Investor, where investing is made easy for beginners. If the investing world and some of the jargon is a little overwhelming for you, fear not, I'm here to simplify that for you by sharing my investing journey. I do this by sharing some of my experiences, my successes, and the bumps along the way. But before we do that today, we're going to jump right into my investment portfolio. All right, we're going to start off in my Wealthsimple cash account. This is our emergency fund. Right now, we have $36,392.07 in it. Last month, we earned $145.79. And currently today, there's only been a couple days in the month of February, we've earned $9.19. Okay, so in our kids' RESP, that's up to $57,742. And currently, it's up in growth of $4,483. And as I said in the past, this is a robo-advisor, so we do pay some fees. All right, here's a breakdown of all of the ETFs within the robo-advised RESP. And like I said, we do pay some fees for this, but I do think it's worth it in the long run. Okay, here we are in my TFSA and my RRSP. Currently, they both hold $35,349. And we'll jump into each account. We'll look at the performance of both. Okay, so we're in my RRSP. On the Canadian side, we have $10,107. As far as performance goes, in the last day, it's down $41. We'll jump right over to 3 months. Over the 3 months, we're up $809. And all time in this account, we're up $642. On the US side, I have $4,369. And the way that I got my money into that account was through two different methods. One was to convert funds directly from the Canadian side of my Wealthsimple account, paying the 1.5% conversion fee over to US funds. But recently, I came up with a new way to do it that saves on some fees, and you can watch that video right here. Performance-wise, this account is up $47 over the last day. Over the last 3 months, it's up $299. And all time, this account is up $316. All right, and since my last video, we have a couple of dividends that have shown up in this account. One of them is TC Pipelines. We got $13.02. And the other one is XEI. We got $11.87. Okay, jumping into my TFSA, right now we have $19,241 in there. Over the last day, we're up $154. Over the week, we're up $134. Over the last month, we're up $716. And over the last 3 months, we're up $1,570. And all time, we're up $1,636. Now, this is the account that I'm putting money into regularly and the one that I'm focusing on the channel. The goal is to max this thing out. That's where we're putting in our money. And as you know, it's $500 every 2 weeks. And if I can come up with a little bit more, that's what we do. So right now, as of today, while I'm recording this, I have $677. But I am going to put a little bit more into that. All right, so I've added a bit more money. We're up to $827, and now we're going to go ahead and buy our stocks. All right, so the first share we're going to buy today is VFV. Of course, that's the S&P 500. It's definitely been the top performer in my portfolio, and I am working on some allocation stuff as far as the different stocks that I hold in there. I'm gearing up to do a video on that a little bit later as I learn about allocation and where my money should be. So for today, we're going to buy 6 shares of VFV. Now, I do hold one covered call. In some of my previous videos, I told you that I had got rid of most of them, but the one that I did keep is HYLD, and I'm thinking about doing a video on that coming up. But right now, it is performing fairly well. I don't have a lot of NAV depreciation in the money that I'm holding in it. It is a very small percentage in my portfolio, but it does produce a higher yield. So I want to gear that to help me produce a little bit of income in the account on a monthly basis. So today we're going to buy 4 shares of HYLD. And the last thing we're going to buy is 2 shares of VRE. This is the ETF that holds different REITs in it. Right now I'm focusing on just building this account up using mostly ETFs. I do have some single stocks in here, but as I said, I think I need to learn more about how to do proper stock picking, and I'm going to work on that moving forward. So today we're going to buy 2 shares of VRE. All right, we have $2.58 left. I definitely do fractional buys into QQC, which is the NASDAQ 100. It has also been performing really well. I'm just going to throw a little bit more money in there. Okay, so I put a little bit more in there. What we're going to do is we're going to buy 1 share of QQC. There's probably going to be a little bit left over. We'll do a fractional buy with that. So we have $4.29 left, so we'll just do a quick fractional buy of QQC. Okay, so we're all done doing our buys. That fractional order, it's sort of the end of the day right now, so that's probably not going to get processed till Monday now because it is Friday when I'm recording this. Not a big deal. All right, and we'll just take a quick look at the dividends that have come into the TFSA. Only a couple of them since the last video I shot. So one is XEI, that paid out $10.68. And then I also have TD, which paid out $11.22. And that money was used to make all the purchases that you saw today. Today we're talking about RESPs. That's a Registered Education Savings Plan. It's a savvy way for saving for your child's educational future. And here's the lowdown. You put your money in an RESP and the government chips in as well, thanks to the Canada Education Savings Grant. Now this is where the magic happens. Your investment grows tax-free until your child is ready for post-secondary education. Now, in a nutshell, RESPs are a win-win for planning for a brighter educational future. Let's make sure that you're setting yourself up for your child's education. But of course, there's always that begging question, what happens if your kid doesn't go to post-secondary education? Well, this is probably the best kept secret about an RESP, and we can talk more about that after we talk about what an RESP is and what the benefits are. Government grants galore. Imagine the Canadian government tossing confetti every single time you put money into the RESP. Well, thanks to the Canada Education Savings Grant, it's like a party with cash bonuses. No matter what your family income is, the Canadian government will match 20% of your annual contributions to a maximum of $500 and to a lifetime maximum of $7,200. So let's talk about contribution limits. Now, there's no annual contribution limit to the account itself. However, there's a lifetime contribution limit of $50,000 per child. Now, the most amazing thing about an RESP is that you can use that money for any eligible expense, anything that's reasonable, like tuition, books, tools, transportation, and even rent. Here's a nice little amazing feature about the account is it doesn't necessarily have to apply to the original beneficiary. So if you have 2 children, you could actually designate the other child as the beneficiary if the first child doesn't want to go to school. Now this feature I think is one of the ones that most people probably are not aware of, and I think is one of the strengths of this account, is the fact that you can contribute to it till the age of 31. That's almost 3 decades if you look at it from a compounding interest perspective. When it's finally time for college, cue the confetti again because it's time for the educational assistance payments. They kick in and both the government grants and the income that you've earned can be withdrawn for educational purposes. All right, so each individual province actually has their own grants as well. Here in BC, we have one, so you'll have to check with each province, but that's in addition to the Canadian one that I referred to earlier. All right, so now where you hold your RESP is completely up to you, and there are all kinds of institutions that you can hold them in. Currently, mine started with TD Bank, and eventually we moved that over to Wealthsimple, but any of the platforms generally will support that. And lastly, there is the option to carry forward some of the contributions that you may have missed in the previous year. All right, so your kid didn't go to post-secondary education. You have this money tied up in your RESP. You're not sure what to do with it and you're worried you're going to lose it. Don't fret. The best kept secret of the RESP is that you can actually transfer that money from the RESP over to your RRSP or your spouse's. There are a few things to keep in mind. Number one is that you can take out the principal that you put in. That's the max of $50,000. Anything above that, you will be taxed on the interest that you earned. The second thing is that you have to have the available room in your RRSP. The third thing is your account, the RESP, must have been open for at least 10 years. And the last thing is that your child must be over the age of 21 and not looking to go to school further down the road. Now, in the beginning of this video, I told you guys that I was going to share with you the mistakes that I made with our kids' RESP. I wanted to save from when they were very young so that when they were ready for post-secondary, we put a lot of money aside for them. And if they didn't want to use it, we would figure that out later. So we opened up an account, we started contributing to it, and we started receiving the government grants, which is fantastic. The big mistake that I made was letting the money sit in that account for 10 years. Compounding not at work. And I'm sad to say that we lost out on it, but we've recognized that we should have invested it. It's invested now and it's earning money. It's actually growing more than a lot of my other accounts. So, in summary, don't make the same mistake I did. Find an institution, open an RESP as soon as you can. Start making even small contributions to it, whether that be $25, $50, $100 a month, whatever you can afford. Start getting that money invested right away so that compounding works for you. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, you're ready to go out, open up your RESP, and start investing for your kids' education. But before you do that, you need to take care of 3 essential steps, and you can do that by watching this video here.